Most people think color is just fashion, just decoration. But color is vibration, and vibration is influence. The same way sound can change your mood, color can alter your energy. What if I told you that certain colors are not neutral at all? That one specific color has been used for centuries as a spiritual mark, a tag that makes you visible to forces that do not wish you well. Witches and practitioners of dark arts have known this secret. And today, I want to reveal to you why you must never take this lightly and what happens when you wear the wrong color unknowingly. Color is not as simple as the eye makes it seem. The moment you look at something before your mind even processes what it is, the color has already touched your nervous system. It has already sent a message to your energy field. That is why monks wear certain robes, why kings and emperors chose particular garments, and why in every civilization, rituals were always performed in specific shades. This is not just culture, it is communication, a silent but powerful language that speaks directly to the subconscious. When you walk into a room, before you speak, before you move, the color you carry is already announcing your presence. Now, think about this. If color can speak to the human mind so directly, what do you imagine it does in the invisible realms? Colors are vibrations, and vibration is what connects matter with energy. Just as music can shift your emotions without a single word, color can alter your state of being without you realizing it. When you wear something, you are not just covering your body, you are choosing what frequency you are broadcasting. That frequency is not only visible to people, it is visible to forces beyond the human eye. For centuries, spiritual practitioners have understood this hidden truth. They knew that colors were more than decoration. They were codes, signals, and invitations. To wear a certain shade was to align with the energy that shade carried. This is why certain tribes painted their bodies before battle, why healers wrapped themselves in particular cloths, and why temples were adorned in colors that matched their sacred purpose. Each tone opens a door, and once the door is open, you cannot control who or what steps through it. The problem arises when we, in modern times, treat colors only as fashion. We say, I like this, I feel bold in this, I feel attractive in that. But attraction and alignment are not the same thing. You may feel empowered by a color without realizing it is weakening your defenses. You may feel noticed while not recognizing who or what is noticing you. This is where the hidden danger lies. The language of color is ancient, but ignorance of it does not protect you. If anything, ignorance makes you even more vulnerable. Think about how easily people's moods shift in environments painted in certain ways. Hospitals are not painted randomly. Fast food chains are not colored randomly. Marketing experts know the psychology of color because it influences behavior. If this is true on a psychological level, then understand it is even more powerful on a spiritual level. Witches and those who deal with darker practices are not guessing. They have studied the same truth, but they use it for different purposes, and the one color they rely on most is not chosen by accident. It is chosen because it marks you, because it sends out a signal you did not intend to send. The first step in protecting yourself is awareness. When you know that colors are a form of language, you stop treating them as harmless decoration. You start choosing them consciously, the same way you choose your words carefully when speaking to someone important. And whether you accept it or not, every day you step into the world, you are speaking a silent language through the colors you carry. When we talk about vibration, most people imagine sound or music, but vibration is in everything. The color you see is simply vibration slowed down into a form the eye can recognize. Each shade carries its own frequency, and when you wear it, you step into resonance with that frequency. This is why certain colors calm you, why others energize you, and why some even make you feel restless without knowing why. But there is one color that does more than affect your mood. It acts like a magnet, pulling towards you energies you may not wish to carry. It doesn't just express something about you, it sends a signal far beyond your awareness. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Most people are simply blending into the background. But one person holds a flashlight, and suddenly they are visible from every direction. That is what this particular color does. It turns you into a beacon, It says, here I am open, I am ready to be seen. And while you may think that attention comes only from people, it also comes from forces that thrive on vulnerability. This is why practitioners of dark arts have used it intentionally. They know its nature is to draw, to seduce, to expose. The danger lies not in the color itself, it is neutral in essence. The danger lies in ignorance. When you wear it without awareness, you are like someone carrying a torch through a forest at night. You may attract good company, but you will also attract what hides in the shadows. This is why so many people experience sudden disturbances in their energy after wearing certain clothes. They cannot explain why they feel drained, why conflict arises, or why they suddenly become restless and agitated. They think it is coincidence, but nothing is coincidence when it comes to vibration. Some will say, but I feel powerful when I wear it, I feel attractive, I feel alive. And yes, it can give that sensation because it amplifies intensity. But amplification without grounding is dangerous. It is like turning up the volume so loud that the music becomes distorted. You may feel the force, but you are also losing clarity. And in that distortion, you lose control. That is where others step in, where manipulation becomes easier, where unseen influences find their way through cracks in your emotional armor. Understand that this color has been used in rituals of seduction, not only in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense. It entices the mind, lowers defenses, and makes the soul more impressionable. Witches and manipulators are not blind to this. They use it deliberately, while ordinary people use it casually. This imbalance of awareness is what gives them the advantage. If vibration is the bridge between the visible and the invisible, then what you wear is not just clothing, it is your signal to the universe. And when your signal is too bright, too loud, too unguarded, you may not like who is listening. There is something many people do not realize. Those who deal with darker practices do not need to speak to you directly in order to influence you. They do not always require a ritual in front of your eyes. Often they work through symbols, through colors, through vibrations that pass unnoticed by those who are unaware. And one of the most effective ways they identify someone is by what they are already wearing. The color becomes a signal, and once that signal is visible, it is as though you have placed a mark upon yourself without realizing it. Think of it like this. A hunter in the forest does not chase every movement in the trees. He waits for a sign, a sound, a flash of movement that reveals where the prey is. In the same way, when you wear this color, you reveal yourself. You are not neutral anymore. You have made yourself easier to recognize in a spiritual sense. That recognition is not always harmless. It makes you accessible to those who look for people to manipulate, to drain, to test. Throughout history, certain groups have used colors as a way of marking. Armies marked their soldiers, tribes marked their members, and priests marked their initiates. But understand, marking is not always protection. Sometimes it is ownership. To be marked means to be claimed. Witches and manipulators know this well. When they see someone dressed in this specific vibration, they do not need permission to act. To them, you have already given permission, simply by wearing what amplifies their reach. You may ask, how can something so small, a piece of clothing, give such power? The answer is resonance. When your vibration matches the one they are projecting, a link is formed. Imagine a radio signal. When you tune into the same frequency, the message comes through clearly. Wearing this color is like tuning you, our channel, to one they already know how to use. And once that channel is open, influence becomes possible. Suddenly your thoughts are more scattered, your emotions less stable, your boundaries easier to bend. You may even start doubting yourself more often, as if some part of your will is slipping away. The most dangerous part of this process is that it happens quietly. Rarely does someone feel a sudden strike. Instead, it is gradual, a little less clarity each day, a little more exhaustion, an increase in strange coincidences or conflicts. These are the subtle signs of being marked. You don't notice the rope tightening until it has already bound you. This is why awareness is everything. The color by itself has no intention, but those who know how to use it will not hesitate to exploit it. They see what others cannot, And once they have identified you, the spiritual mark is in place. This color has always been associated with attraction, with desire, with passion. On the surface, it looks powerful, it looks alive, it looks as if it can give you confidence. People wear it to be noticed, to be remembered, to feel irresistible. And yes, it does draw eyes, it does spark emotions in those around you. But what most people fail to recognize is that the same energy which attracts can also disarm. It does not only pull others toward you, it pulls away your inner defenses. The very qualities that make it seductive are the same ones that make it dangerous. When you put on this color, you are not just signaling to others that you are confident, you are unconsciously signaling that you are open. And openness, without awareness, becomes vulnerability. Think about how seduction works. It is never just about beauty, it is about lowering resistance. It is about creating an emotional atmosphere where decisions are no longer logical but impulsive. That is the psychology behind this It stirs emotions so strongly that clarity fades. And the less clarity you have, the easier it becomes for someone else to influence your path. This is why witches and manipulators use it. They understand that when the human mind is excited, stirred, or inflamed with desire, it does not guard itself the way it should. It doesn't matter if the desire is for attention, for validation, or for connection. The moment emotion dominates reason, influence becomes possible. Wearing this color creates that state, not just in others, but also within yourself. You might notice that when you wear it, your own thoughts are less steady, your impulses stronger, and your patience shorter. It feels empowering in the moment, but empowerment without discipline is simply a loss of control. Think of a flame. A fire can give warmth, it can cook food, it can bring light in the darkness, but the same fire, left uncontrolled, can consume everything around it. This color carries that fire. It awakens something primal, something instinctive, but it does not teach you how to master it. That is why it has been used in rituals of seduction and domination. Those who wish to weaken others know that lowering defenses is the first step, and this color is one of the easiest tools for that task. What begins as attraction can quietly shift into entanglement. What feels like confidence can become recklessness. What appears as charm can end as vulnerability. And while most people dismiss this as coincidence, those who study energy understand a deeper truth. The color itself becomes a doorway, and once the doorway is opened, you are not the only one who decides what enters. And if you are not careful, the fire you thought you were using to shine will be the same fire that burns you. Most people don't connect the dots between what they wear and how they feel. They go through their days thinking, headaches are just stress, the sudden fatigue is just poor sleep, or the strange tension in the air is just a coincidence. But energy doesn't operate randomly. The colors you place on your body are not just for the eyes, they affect your aura, your inner stability, and the way other energies interact with you. When you wear a color that vibrates with intensity, especially one that has been historically used to mark or attract, the consequences often begin to show up in subtle, quiet ways. It begins with restlessness. You sleep, but the sleep feels light, as if something is pressing against the edge of your awareness. You might have strange dreams, symbols, faces, or voices that you can't quite understand, but feel unnerving, or you wake up feeling like you haven't rested at all. This is not always a medical issue. Sometimes it is energetic. You have invited in a vibration that does not let your mind settle, that keeps your spiritual field open even when your eyes are closed. Then there's the emotional shift. Arguments appear where peace once existed. Misunderstandings multiply. You say things you didn't mean, or you overreact to small situations. What you may not realize is that energy influences behavior. If the color you wore acted like a magnet, pulling attention not only from people but from entities or energies that feed off instability, then it makes sense that chaos starts to follow you more often. Not because you changed, but because something has been activated around you. People around you might start responding differently too. Some will be drawn to you with a strange intensity, others may suddenly avoid you. That's because when you wear a color charged with spiritual weight, your field no longer blends in. It becomes sharp, even confrontational. Sensitive people may feel uneasy in your presence without knowing why. Others, especially those with impure intentions, may become more interested in you because your vibration now welcomes them. And then there's the exhaustion. Spiritual exhaustion is different from being physically tired. It feels like your inner flame is flickering. You can't concentrate, motivation fades, and even moments of joy feel muted. This is what happens when your energy is leaking, when you've unknowingly become accessible to forces that don't nourish you but consume you. The color you chose became a portal, and what passed through it was not neutral. These are not superstitions, these are patterns. Patterns that repeat again and again for those who wear certain colors with no awareness of their deeper meaning. The body speaks, but we must listen. And when the signs start to appear, poor sleep, emotional volatility, unexplained heaviness, it is no longer about fashion, it is about protection. And if you ignore the signals long enough, the damage is no longer subtle. It becomes a way of life. Awareness is the very first shield. Once you begin to see that colors are not neutral, that they carry weight, you no longer move blindly. What was once just fabric becomes a choice, and choice is where power begins. Many people think protection must come from something external, like an amulet or a ritual, but true protection begins in the clarity of your own mind. When you know why something influences you, when you understand the pattern, it loses much of its control. Ignorance is what makes people vulnerable, not the color itself. So what can you do? The first step is to choose consciously. Not every color lowers your defenses. Some shades ground you, some strengthen you, some calm the nervous system and protect your field. This is why spiritual traditions all over the world gave so much importance to white for purity or deep earthy tones for stability. These choices were not accidental. They were me. Thoughts of aligning the body with energies that strengthen rather than weaken. When you begin to dress with awareness, you send a different message, not one of openness to manipulation, but one of centeredness, one of balance. But even more important than the choice of fabric is the state of your inner world. If your mind is scattered, if your emotions are unchecked, then even protective colors cannot save you fully. The strength of your aura reflects the strength of your discipline. Practices like meditation, silence, controlled breathing, and conscious living strengthen your inner vibration. When that vibration is stable, you are no longer easily marked, no matter what you wear. You carry your own shield within you. Cleansing is another key. Just as you wash your body every day, your energy also requires cleansing. Too often, people accumulate heaviness, conflicts, and unnoticed attachments, and then they wonder why their spirit feels weighed down. Through silence, nature, prayer, or mindful rituals, you can clear what clings to you. Once cleared, the mark loses its hold. What seemed like an unavoidable influence dissolves when you refuse to feed it with your energy. Understand this, protection is not about fear. It is not about avoiding life, avoiding expression, or avoiding beauty. It is about stepping into life with awareness so that what is meant to weaken you no longer finds an entrance. You can still choose color, you can still choose style, but you choose it with eyes open, not blindfolded. The moment you see clearly, the manipulation loses its power. And in the end, this is the true path of strength, not to escape from the world, but to walk through it awake, so that nothing and no one can mark you without your permission.